The rumble of my tires on dirt snapped me out of my morning ritual. I was halfway through my coffee set to haul grain to the bottom pasture when I looked out the kitchen window and almost spilled the mug. A 6-foot wooden fence had grown across my tractor path overnight, its fresh stained planks shining like a defiant scar. Behind it, arms crossed smirking like she'd just conquered a kingdom, stood Patricia Langley, HOA president and self-appointed dictator of suburban order. My mind froze, trying to keep up with the ridiculousness that path worn down by decades of traffic. Was mine part of my property long before the HOA's manicured lawns moved in? I put the coffee down, stepped onto the porch, and glared. Patricia's tauntingness didn't budge. She was goading me, wanting a breakdown. I refused to provide. Instead, I walked to the fence, boots crunching gravel. My heart rate steady beat of rage. This wasn't a mistake or a landscaping blunder. It was a thought-out attack, bolted into concrete, cutting my property like a knife. Patricia shook her smile, poisonous. "You'll have to redirect your tractor, James," she told, voice full of feigned sweetness. The HOA decided to enhance the green belt. "This fence resets balance." I gestured to the ground under my feet. "This is my land, Patricia, not your green belt." Her smile, stretched eyes flashing. "The new survey indicates a shared usage area. You'll adjust shared usage zone." I insisted on the survey. She said it was internal and not public. I pressed harder. She offered emailing the HOA attorney. My fists clenched, not from anger, but from the awareness of her audacity. The fence, professionally constructed, screamed premeditation. She'd waited for a quiet day, aware that I'd be off the path, and struck. This wasn't about rules, it was war. I requested permits, she deflected. Mentioning HOA beautification rights, I inquired about county approval for boundary changes. She brushed it off, saying beautification over and over again like a refrain. I didn't yell or curse. I walked back, turning the blind eye to her warning of litigation. Should I go over the fence in? There, my property survey was retrieved from a drawer yellowed with age, but lines still crisp. The path of the tractor stood firmly in place within my own limits, certified by photographs of the old owner, grading in '92. My property came before the HOA, the subdivision on the gamble of a developer, which held out promise of harmony with newsletters, lawn edicts, and Patricia's iron fist as a land surveyor. I knew my deeds, house, eastern pasture, and old grazing fields were ironclad. Patricia, 6 months into her HOA reign, had already cited me for my goats, excessive bleeding, and my windmill's unapproved height. This fence, though, was personal, a gauntlet thrown to break me. I called the county zoning office, but they offered a sluggish "will review" in 3 weeks. 3 weeks, my farm's beat hay deliveries, grazing rotations gate. I called my friend Caleb, a part-time surveyor with a disdain for HOA politics, to confirm the boundaries. Meanwhile, I skirted the fence, working other fields, keeping my cool. 2 days later, I had to move hay with a cordless drill. I took out 4 bolts from the fence's center panel, pushed it aside, and coaxed the tractor through, careful not to splinter. AI delivered the hay, came back and rebuilt the panel, just like before, thinking I'd been discreet. I underplayed Patricia's obsession the next morning. Blue and red lights strobed at my gate. A deputy leaned against his cruiser. Patricia beside him, waving pictures like a prosecutor. She accused me of vandalism, trespassing, and HOA property damage. The deputy, visibly irritated, listened as I explained the fence was on my property. He asked for evidence. I said I need a day to compile it. Patricia spouted bylaws, accusing I disobeyed a cease and desist I'd never been issued. The deputy sighed, labeling it a civil issue, encouraging calm. Patricia snapped my photo, grumbling about lawsuits, and walked off the storm. In my chest wasn't rad, it was resolve. She'd installed a fence on my property and called the law on me for relocating it. Game on. I sat at my kitchen table, coffee cold, poring over deeds, plats, and surveys. My 3 parcels were clear. The path was mine, protected by a 1985 agricultural easement. Patricia's shared usage zone was fiction, but her HOA board's backing and neighbors' fear gave her teeth. I drove to the county office, meeting clerks and a planner who knew my dad, showing photos and deeds. I requested satellite imagery. It confirmed the fence sat 32 feet onto my land, violating my easement. They advised a formal complaint slow but binding. Caleb arrived. Surveyor's child in hand and confirmed line discovering a 1978 steel stake we photographed, took logged coordinates and constructed an airtight case. But airtight wasn't quick, and Patricia was mounting a letter taped to my gate. HOA logo, bold charged me with disrupting community improvements, promising fines if I touched the fence once more. She'd mobilized the board, her loyalists voting by email meetings held in her garage. I stopped by neighbor Tom, a past board member replaced by Patricia. He laughed at the letter showing her takeover denters. Quit, replaced by her cronies. She's untouchable, unless neighbors fight. He said most feared her wrath, examining the fence. I saw a new mailbox behind it, bolted to my land labeled Temporary HOA Drop Point, a cheap trick to claim shared use. I filmed it, avoiding contact, and added it to my evidence. Tire tracks appeared in my field. Not mine. I set up a trail cam capturing Patricia's Jeep at dusk. Her opening the mailbox setting, staging official calls, night 2. She came back. Night 3, she had a friend taping her like a propaganda star. She was creating a paper trail. But I taped her every trespass, every fib. I emailed the county sheriff and attorney, including surveys. Photos and video days went by. Quietly, Patricia's notices ceased. I avoided the path, giving her no ammunition. On day 5, a county truck showed up at her residence. 2 officials asked her about rerouting her drainage through my property, associated with her sprinklers and gate power. She brandished papers, voice sharp, but they departed unfazed. The following day, an emergency HOA meeting was called Flyers, alleging me of hostile land grabs 5 neighbors. Tom, Ruth, and 3 others came by fed up. I produced the deeds and video. She's lying. Ruth declared, eyes fierce. They promised to battle the meeting's chaos, leaked through roof. Patricia defined the fence as protecting community borders, but stumbled when requested permits. Tom exposed her drainage deceit, referencing my utility report with her signature. She screamed slander, threatening sheriff escorts. But the crowd turned. No votes cast. She fled. Red-faced, her mailbox stop interrupted. Her Jeep remained parked. A county sign issued unauthorized structure removal. Imminent. Patricia gazed at it, shaking phone, trembling in her hand. A take-own crew appeared, taking apart the fence within hours. Planks stacked neatly. A lawyer presented her. A reclamation notice constructed her patio on my neighboring parcel. Rented but never renewed. She dismissed it. But a second notice required her patio's demolition, or a buyout she couldn't afford. Horizon Ventures, purchasing my parcel, schemed a solar farm selling triple its worth at their open house, featuring eco-plans. Patricia's husband snapped. Taking her megaphone, we constructed on land we didn't own. This is our fault. He departed her stunned. Her social media disappeared. Her lawn wilted. A court declared her patio illegal. She moved, moving truck, silent. The solar farm emerged, and I advised on its layout. Neighbors apologized, having a fenceless barbecue tractors prancing the path. A plaque said, "Truth over fences." Patricia, behind a lopsided privacy screen, nodded once as I walked a defeated ghost. A new HOA, headed by Ruth, dropped old rules. The path buzzed, my dog slept, and I smiled. Not for victory, but for a community freed. One deed at a